Well, Melissa, this is still the command post where firefighters were deciding earlier just how to battle this dump fire. And we received word a few minutes ago from the Disaster and Emergency Services people that the evacuation is mandatory for West Point, Kentucky, the town of about 1,500. It's about 2 miles to the south of where the fire is, just across the river on US 31W. Now, a few minutes ago, the state DES director and adjutant general, Mike Malloy, met with the mayor of West Point and other officials. It was his recommendation to evacuate, and the officials decided to take his word for it. And so now the evacuation has begun in the town of West Point, with the shelter being set up by the Red Cross at Sandusky Fieldhouse in Fort Knox. The fire department, the police department, and EMS crews are assisting with the evacuations right now. And if you live in West Point and need some help in getting out, then we're told to tell you to call 911 and someone will get to you as soon as possible. Now, here's why. The air samples, the air quality tests we talked about earlier that were to determine just exactly what from the fire was in the air turned out pretty good. They turned out safe for West Point earlier tonight. However, authorities need to evacuate the town now so that they can begin fighting the fire in the dump, because as they start putting dirt and water on the fire, some potentially dangerous, potentially toxic material could get into the air. And the way the wind is blowing right now, that material would settle over West Point as the authorities are fighting the fire. Now again, that also will mean that US 31W more than likely will be closed tomorrow morning for rush hour. So if you're a commuter from the Fort Knox, Radcliffe area to Louisville, or you drive from Louisville to the south on Dixie Highway US 31W, plan on an alternate route tomorrow morning for rush hour. The highway now is closed at Kentucky 44 on the north, and it is closed at West Point on the south. So again, keep that in mind. Perhaps take an alternate route for rush hour in the morning, I-65, and in and out of Elizabethtown, for example. But again, the Disaster and Emergency Services Director and the mayor and city officials of West Point have ordered a mandatory evacuation of the town of West Point, the town of about 1,500 people, 2 miles to the south of where this dump fire occurred earlier tonight. That evacuation is going on now as we speak, and people are asked to go to the Sandusky Fieldhouse at Fort Knox. Melissa?
Chris, at this point, that is precautionary then for West Point. There has not been any danger to the town or the townspeople, and you told us earlier that no one so far tonight has been hurt because of the moves that have been taken. Is that still true?
And yes, that is the word we have from here at the command post. First of all, let's talk about people who were hurt. Again, the official word is that no one has been hurt here. However, we're told that earlier tonight, the DES director, General Mike Malloy, did report some burning sensation on his skin and a dry mouth and some burning sensation on his lips, but that subsided shortly. We don't know if that was related or not. And we're told also that a couple of people in the evacuation center at Dixie Highway have reported headaches, but again, no way to associate that with anything that may or may not have been in the air. And the other point you brought up, Melissa, I forgot what it was. Tell me again.
I was saying that it's precautionary at this point for West Point to get people out.
Yes, that is correct, because as best as they can determine right now, nothing dangerous has been in the air over West Point. However, as firefighters get into the dump site to try to fight this fire with water and with dirt, they'll start to stir up things, and that could put up potentially dangerous things into the air. And the way authorities believe right now, once they start fighting the fire, that stuff would get in the air and then would settle over West Point about 2 miles to the south.
I was told by the DES that they have 44 Army buses that are standing by for anyone in West Point who doesn't have a car to get out of the town. But at this hour of night, just after midnight, you could presume that a lot of people are in bed. How are they going about getting out the word to these people to leave?
Well, that's where the fire department, the police department, and EMS come in. They're starting to go door to door, blow their sirens, that sort of thing, in order to get the word to people.
Can you give us an estimate, Chris? I know you've seen a lot of activity there tonight and a lot of people from different agencies who are responding. An estimate of how many people right now are involved in trying to handle the situation? Who's there?
Well, here at the command post, it's just a guesstimate on my part. I would say well over 100 people. You have the people who are in charge of this, first of all, because it is in Bullitt County. You have the Nichols Fire Department, the first fire department on the scene, and Bullitt County DES. And then you have a lot of authorities from Jefferson County. Jefferson County has a lot more expertise on hazardous material situations, for example, from the Jefferson County Fire Departments, the Health Department, EMS, also state disaster and emergency services officials are here, in addition to other folks from Bullitt County and some from Hardin as well. So a lot of people getting together here, concentrating on several things. One, how to best attack putting out this fire, which is burning above and below ground, and because of that could take several days to put out. And second, how to get the evacuation taken care of, with the first people evacuated about 6:30, and now the 1,500 people under mandatory evacuation orders in West Point.
The fact that this fire has taken place at night also may complicate things a little bit, Chris. Are they getting any support from any special equipment, say, from Fort Knox?
I don't know anything about equipment from Fort Knox at this time. However, Jefferson County has a sophisticated light and air truck and generating truck that is down here that's providing light for the firefighters at the scene. In addition, you've got the Red Cross and several other vehicles with emergency generators and lights at the command post here as well to help them out.
All right, Chris, we thank you very much for all your help and information tonight. We have another crew that's heading to West Point to report on the evacuation. We'll continue to update you throughout this evening. We thank you very much. Once again, West Point people are asked to leave right away. If you don't have a car to get out of town, then Fort Knox will provide a bus to get you to the reservation. And it is, again, just precautionary, but they advise you to leave West Point, Kentucky now because of this continuing burning fire at a landfill with chemicals unknown. This has been an Action 11 News special report. We now return you to regular programming.